I know I'm a bit late on this one, but I've been distracted with other reviews and stuff. But anyway, let's talk about Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the latest incarnation of the Ninja Turtles that came out months after arguably the best version ended. That was a mistake. I realize it's very difficult to create an adaptation of something that is on the heels of what many people consider to be the best version of a property, because when you do that, naturally there's going to be comparisons, and when you make changes, they're going to stick out a lot. And this is a very jarring adaptation as opposed to the previous one. Most notably was the character designs. They seem to be kind of based on the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles, although upon further examination, some of them do seem to be based on the previous 2012 Ninja Turtles. So I think what they were trying to do is maybe come up with some kind of compromise, like maybe meet somewhere in between the two designs. And this is a very different adaptation than anything we've seen previously. For one, they don't immediately go into the origin story or how they met April or anything like that. And in some ways, I kind of like that, because we don't really need to hear the origin story of the Ninja Turtles again. You know, it's like when they do a new Spider-Man show and they have to go through the same thing. Like, everybody knows this already. They'll probably go into it later on, and I've said before that I don't usually like it when they don't do an origin story right away, especially when you do a superhero show. But when you have a well-known property like Ninja Turtles, where people usually know what the origin is, it's a little bit more forgivable, because we really don't need to see that again. And it allows them to get a little bit more to the point. So right away, you get the Ninja Turtles doing what they do best, going around New York and fighting bad guys. And in this version, in episode 1, they get weapons with strange magical powers, which they seem to have to adapt to, which I kind of like that idea. As much as I do love the Ninja Turtles just having their plain old weapons that they have to use and use to defeat all kinds of crazy stuff, I like the idea of maybe giving them a little bit of an upgrade. There seems to be a bigger focus on comedy in this version than any other version, actually. Even more so than the original Ninja Turtles cartoon, I would say. And to be fair, some of the comedy was alright. There seems to be a running gag about April trying to hold down a job, but usually something would happen with the Ninja Turtles and then she would end up losing it. And there was a really funny moment when they found the magic weapons. They were storming this facility and they found some weapons in a room, and then Raph was like, "Hey, let's take the glowing ones!" And they were all looking at him in awe. That was pretty funny. Seems to be some new villains in this show as well. And interestingly enough, there doesn't seem to be any word about if Shredder is going to show up in this. I didn't even see his name listed on any of the information pages for this show. They did mention the Foot Clan, but no Shredder. Instead, we get this sort of interdimensional mutant guy named Baron Draxum, who, incidentally, is voiced by John Cena. Wow. Apparently, he can play a heel. They did show a couple other mutants and different characters, and a lot of it reminded me of the 2003 Ninja Turtles a little bit. In fact, that seems to be what this show is going for, just a more comedic version of the 2003 Ninja Turtles. Unfortunately, even that version at least had some decent animation. The intro to this show looks really, really good, and that's one of the things a lot of people were excited about as soon as they released the intro. Unfortunately, the rest of the show doesn't look as good. Like, not even nearly as good. When they're just standing around talking or making snide remarks, the animation is kinda lackluster and cheap and a bit jerky. And then when action happens, every character turns into this unrecognizable blob of arms and legs and weapons just swinging around. And for an action show, that kind of sucks. But I think the biggest change that this show makes is they made Raphael the leader. And he's not been the leader, at least not in any of the cartoons. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not really feeling him as a leader. And I really don't like this version of Splinter. Splinter is supposed to be their master, their teacher, their father. And this one is just kind of a slob and a couch potato. And I get they want to go for more comedy, but the Splinter from the 2012 Ninja Turtles while he was very intelligent and dignified and respectful, he had really good comedic moments too, and it's mostly because he was so dignified. It's just when he broke character like that, it was always really funny. And is it me, or do the Turtles this time not really have that much personality distinction? Like, that was one of the really good things about the 2012 one. It gave them each individual personalities. This one, they all seem kind of the same, don't they? They seem to have very little, you know, distinctions, but it's not really enough. Although one thing this version has over the 2012 Ninja Turtles is, in this version, Donatello does not have a creepy infatuation with April. So, points for that. So they seem to be going for some kind of storyline, at least that's what I saw in episode 1, but all the other episodes I saw, they seem to be more focused on filler. Like, we're going to just see the wacky adventures of the Ninja Turtles. There was an episode where April had a job at this sort of Chuck E. Cheese type of places, and then the Ninja Turtles showed up and the animatronics went crazy, and I think they were going for some kind of Five Nights at Freddy's thing here. All I have to say is Gravity Falls did it better. Then there was an episode where Michelangelo and Donatello were working for this, like, Mantis guy who was a mutant, but he was also a repo guy, and they had to help him repossess this other guy's RV, and again, hijinks. So yeah, this show has quite a few problems. I feel, you know, because it's the first season, they might be able to improve upon them over time, or perhaps not. I have to admit, I kind of went into this expecting to hate it, but I didn't hate it, so I guess that's a victory in my book. Unfortunately, I didn't love it either. I'm just not really sold on this version just yet. And it might be because it came out so soon after the 2012 Ninja Turtles had ended. And there's been a lot of other shows that have been in a similar situation. One of the most famous examples has got to be when Avengers Assembled came out, right on the heels of when Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes got canceled, and it was a show a lot of people really liked, and that caused Avengers Assembled to get kind of a lukewarm reception. I really feel like there needs to be more of a grace period in between adaptations, and then maybe they'll get better receptions. If I was to rank this among all of the Ninja Turtles cartoons, I would say probably the third best, maybe. I haven't decided if the 2003 Ninja Turtles was as good as I remember. I can see why people are not really taking to this one well, but I can also see the appeal of it on some level. However, if you do really like this version, I encourage you to check out the 2012 Ninja Turtles as well, because honestly, I don't think that one gets the credit it deserves sometimes. But as for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think that's about all I got to say, so leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of it. My name is Rob, and have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go get some pizza.